the right and wrong ways to cope. This video was a request by a $20 Patreon pledge by the name of Lazaru Voirel. I apologize if I butchered your name, man, but basically he wanted to know about how men and women, and how, I'm assuming how blue pill men and women and how red pill men cope with, disappointment with failed relationships, and, basically failures with the opposite sex. And, really to expand on that, I would just say failures and disappointments in life in general. I thought that was a very interesting, topic request. So I'll start off with how blue pill people generally, handle disappointments and failures, right? You know, blue pill people, they resort to alcohol, drugs, social media, in unhealthy ways, gossiping, just consumption, consuming tons of unhealthy food, maybe, overall bad habits. Weak people, and, as we call them, blue pill people, I suppose, they're always searching externally for answers to their problems. They're always running away from who they are, to avoid confronting what they really need to face. Because here's the thing. The answer to what's bothering you lies inside you. The thing about life is that everything you need to be happy, everything you need to feel complete in the world comes from bringing it out of you. See, we've been brainwashed into thinking that we need to go out and chase validation, we need to go out and chase happiness and find the right partner, and these are the things that are gonna, make us happy. It's all about chasing, it's all about taking something out there and putting it inside of us, and that's not how it works. You were born with everything you needed to live a happy, healthy lifestyle, and the journey really comes from bringing it out of you. It's in there, and it's up to you, through life lessons, to bring it out of yourself. Tap into powers you didn't even know you had. That's sort of the moral of it. So what blue pill people do, like I said, they consume, they gossip, they run away, they're always hanging out with each other, they always have to be at the bar, they always have to go to a new party. Women always have to sleep with a different guy, go to a party. They can never just sit in solitude and really think about who they are and face who they are. A lot of blue pill men and women, they have to do depression medication, smoke and drink and all that, because if they were to look in the mirror, for 2 minutes, they would lose their minds. They cannot face who they really are. They're running and running and running away. And that's most people, right? That's how blue pill people, deal with their problems. They're terrified of being alone. They're terrified of looking in the mirror. And the thing is, the more you run away, the bigger that monster becomes when you decide you finally do want to face it. It's like cancer. It's always better to terminate it in the early stages. If you're afraid about something, the more you run away, and women are notorious for this, the more you run away, the more baggage you accumulate, the harder and harder it's going to be if you ever did decide to face that demon. It's gotten so big and out of control, it kind of just takes over you, right? So now we're going to talk about how red pill men cope with their problems, whether it's failures with women, maybe you lose your job, you lose a couple friends, whatever. Red pill men cope by actually looking inward and saying, what did I do wrong? Why did this happen? What can I really do to solve this problem now? I am interested in creating a long-term solution now. I don't want to bury this. I don't want to run away from this. I accept responsibility for what I did. I accept responsibility for the part I took in this situation, and I want to make sure this doesn't happen again. When I have relationships with women that failed in the past, I always blame myself to a degree, because I was 50% responsible for whatever went wrong with that, whether I want to, admit it or not. And once you take responsibility for your half of it, it helps you get past it and, heal, because you're not playing the blame game. See, when you blame people, and here's the thing, most of it could be her fault, but I still take 50% responsibility because I chose to date that person, right? So when you take responsibility for your end of it, you're not playing the blame game, because by playing the blame game you're pushing it onto someone else, and then you're developing hatred and resentment towards someone else, and you're not allowing yourself to move on. When you just accept the part of it that was your fault and say, look, I kind of messed up, I shouldn't have dealt with this person, but it's all right, lesson learned, I'm not going to do that again. You're kind of washing away the sin, the guilt, from feeling dirty because you made a mistake. So it makes it a lot easier to move on. Spending time alone. Most people are terrified of being alone. A lot of red pill men, we are not afraid of, distancing ourselves from people and really looking inwards. And, when we feel needy, when we feel weak, by purposely staying alone, even when you want to be social, because you feel people are so toxic, you actually develop the strength to not need them as much. You go through a bit of a withdrawal because you really want to be around people, but you shouldn't, so you don't. And then as time goes on, you build that muscle. You become more and more able to not be around people, because a lot of them are bad for you. So it becomes easier and easier over time. Whereas weak blue pill people, they never develop that power, because the second they feel weak, the second they feel needy, they run out to a party, they run out to a nightclub, they go get the alcohol, they give into that weakness, and they never build that strength from within to know that they can handle anything and they can be alone like red pill men do. It's definitely a huge advantage. It gives you a lot of peace of mind knowing that there's really nothing on this earth that can have power over you, and kind of keep you as a prisoner, to whatever that may be. So a lot of blue pill, pretty much all blue pill people are prisoners. They're prisoners to each other. They're prisoners to drama. They're prisoners to drugs and alcohol. They're prisoners to consumption. They're prisoners to attention, because they never developed the power by isolating themselves from those things, to know that they don't need it and to know that they can live without it. So that's really the difference between that's really the right and wrong ways to cope, with whatever you're dealing with. Blue pill people choose to, overindulge and run away from it and never face it and bury it and consume, and to avoid facing this reality and to avoid facing whatever they don't like about themselves. Whereas red pill men look it right in the mirror, say, this is what I need to do to get past it. I'm going to confront this. I'm not going to lean on anybody else to fix this for me, or to help me avoid this, or to help me run away from this. I'm going to, confront this and handle it any way I can. And I'm not afraid to look in the mirror and take accountability and do whatever I need to do to become a better, version of myself. So I want to give a big shout out one more time to Lazarou Voirel for the $20 Patreon donation and the request. And if anyone else, wants a custom MGTOW video on any topic of their choice, by becoming a $20 Patreon and sending me a message on Patreon with your topic, I can see that and I'll get that video up for you as soon as possible. Anyways, guys, that is the right and wrong ways to cope.